Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make videos from BA. All these videos, they get posted on the subreddit right here. It's called DF Sports with 1S. I'll have it linked down below. I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. You can talk strategy here. You can ask me questions about the slate. Anything you need, I'll have this link down below. And if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on Twitter right there. So that'd be linked down below. All right, let's go over my lineup from tonight. And I am just in excruciating pain from what happened tonight. So in my video, if you guys, and by the way, let me know if my mic's scratchy again. My new microphone will be here. My new headset will be here tomorrow, so that'll come in tomorrow. So let me know. I'll check after the video, but yeah, I told you guys in my video that if Giannis and the Hornets were going to project to be low owned, I was going to play them, and I am a man of my word, and that's what I did. Unfortunately, the game blew out, but my core today, it just it was a really good core today. My core today was Mikal Bridges, Fred VanVleet, Dennis Schroeder, and Cameron Johnson. They're all smashing or smashed. I told everyone personally I was gonna play Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges. I have Mikal Bridges in my other lineup. I made two lineups today. He's in my other lineup. And then I was gonna play Giannis and some Charlotte guys, and yeah, it blew out. Nothing you can do about it. I felt like it was the right play. I told you guys I was gonna do it if they're projected to be low owned. That's what I did. Just unfortunate there. And yeah, I need Fred VanVleet to somehow get 3 assists in the next 6 minutes to sweep prize picks, hopefully. So I'm sweating that as well. But hopefully you guys had a great night tonight. Hopefully you guys just ate that Brooklyn chalk. And yeah, if you are looking for more in-depth content where I have prize picks content, sportsbook content, DFS content, where I give you guys player pools for cash, tournaments, cores for main slate, night slate, showdown slate, pretty much everything you could ask for, I will have my Discord link down below. All right, yeah, let's get into this slate. I believe we have a 7-game slate for tomorrow. Just of note here, there is no late swap, so it's going to be a theory slate. Um, you're gonna have to really think about what you're gonna do here with the questionable tags. By the way, in Discord, I always give my thoughts on who I think is in, who I think will be out for the day. So that's gonna help a lot as well. Usually, I'm pretty accurate with that stuff as well. I do a ton of research, researching beat writers, Twitter pages, practices, shoot arounds, all that good stuff. So that's gonna definitely help out for this slate. So yeah, I'll do my best for the questionable guys while we're going over this now, but I have more of an idea usually the day of the slate. This is the night before, obviously. So I'll do my best though. All right, Charlotte and Philadelphia, not the best of matchups here, but both these teams play pretty fast, so it should be a pace up spot. Actually, Charlotte's pace has been not great of late with LaMelo out, but still okay. But yeah, Charlotte on a back-to-back here, they're just really bad. But they are playing their main guys, no matter if the game stays competitive or if it blows out. I do want to see what they ended with tonight. I believe they were in the entire time, pretty much. Yeah, Miller 40, Miles 39, Trey Mann 29. Cody Martin 29, Grant Williams 30. So they're playing their guys no matter if the game stays competitive or not. So I do like the main guys. I think Miles Bridges and Trey Mann are my favorites. Now, they're more tournament plays for me. What I mean by that, more large field tournament plays. I'm not going to go out of my way to prioritize any of them, but they're probably going to be really low owned. I don't mind the spot here up against the Sixers as well. So I think Miles and Trey Mann are probably my favorite point per dollar plays on this team. As far as Nick Richards go, I believe this is a spot where I think we could see Grant Williams play a bit more. I don't think they're going to need Nick Richards out there going up against Paul Reed. And it's another spot where I think Paul Reed could play a bit less here in this spot. So just be a little bit careful there with Nick Richards. I think, like I said, my favorites are Miles Bridges, Trey Mann. Trey Mann, probably my favorite point per dollar. Miles Bridges, my favorite straight up. Brandon Miller's just there for me. And then the value here, it's fine. Like Cody Martin's playable. I mean, how many assists did he end with tonight? Because I noticed his potentials were up. 5 assists. I don't know what's going on there, but Cody Martin's playable. I'd honestly rather play Grant Williams over Cody Martin. His usage been up down. He started off really hot, had a couple bad games, but now had a big game tonight. I'd definitely rather play Grant Williams to Cody Martin, but still both fine values. I think Grant's solid. Cody Martin just a filler. Don't love it. Mitchich is fine too, but I think, we definitely have some better value. We'll talk about this Memphis and Portland game that I absolutely love. Moving on to Philly, I love Tyrese Maxey in this spot going up against Charlotte. We know Tyrese Maxey absolutely thrives in these environments. And another guy, if the game stays close or below it, he's going to play mid-30s minutes regardless. I really like this spot. Price point's down. He's their go-to guy. We have no D'Anthony Melton as well. Obviously no Embiid. So I really like Tyrese Maxey here. Tobias Harris has been god awful of late. I still think he's a bit pricey. If you want to go there as like a bounce back candidate, since it's a really, really good spot, and we know he does have a ceiling, that's fine. But the guy I'd rather play here with no D'Anthony Melton that I don't think a ton of people are going to be on is Buddy Hield. In a competitive game with no Melton, Buddy Hield should play close to 40 minutes. He has actually been behind Tyrese Maxey in usage rate on this team of late. Now you have no Melton, so 6K for Buddy Hield I think is a decent option. Definitely prefer him to Tobias Harris point per dollar. Kelly Oubre is fine. I think I'd rather just play Buddy Hield there. And I think this is a spot where Paul Reed could not play a ton. Here's what's going to happen. Paul Reed's either going to play 30 plus minutes and absolutely break the slate at this price point, or they're not going to need him. Charlotte's going to close with Grant Williams, and the Sixers are also going to close small. That's two opportunities, two scenarios that could happen here. So if like Paul Reed's really low owned, you could definitely take a shot on him at 5-4. If I knew he got 30 minutes in this matchup, he would be in my lineup 100%. But Nick Nurse, he's trolling right now with the rotation with the bigs. Just thought I mentioned that though. Lowry at 4-3 should stay around 20 minutes, maybe a little bit of a bump with no Melton. Playable value, it's fine. Don't love it though. I don't think I'm going to play much else here. Batum at 3-6, reasonable. I think, we just have better value here on Memphis and Portland coming up in a bit. Possibly on Cleveland as well. Really, really good spot here. So Donovan Mitchell is questionable. I mean, we know what to look for with Donovan Mitchell, so I'm not. It's the early game anyway, so it doesn't matter if he plays or doesn't as far as news goes and late swap goes. But we know to look for the tweet, right? So if Donovan Mitchell is in, I think he's a really good spend up at 9.2K. Jared Allen, Evan Mobley are in really, really good spots. Evan Mobley played 42 minutes last game in double overtime. Jared Allen, it was double overtime, right? Yeah, Jared Allen didn't play too much. And then Darius Garland played 44 minutes double overtime as well. Karis LeVert, I believe, played a ton as well. He had a really, really big game. So I really like Donovan Mitchell if he plays in the spot going up against Detroit. Not my favorite spend up, but I think he's a really, really solid spend up. Actually, probably one of my favorites now looking at the spend ups on the slate. You could potentially have Kyrie Irving. You have Maxey, but I think Donovan Mitchell is definitely one of the better spend ups on these slates. Scotty Barnes, I think, is really good as well, assuming Mitchell does play. Mobley, Allen are decent options in the mid range. Definitely prefer Mobley to Jared Allen. Darius Garland's price right with Mitchell in. I'm not going to play LeVert. Strus just a contrarian option for me. Wouldn't like much else here outside of Donovan Mitchell and the two bigs. Now, if Donovan Mitchell's out, that changes everything. Then I love Darius Garland at 6'8". Mobley would look very solid. Jared Allen's playable. Karis LeVert would be a decent option at 5.4K. He'd have to play a ton. Max Strus gets a bump. He'd be a decent option too at 5.1. Definitely would prefer LeVert though. Niang will get a bump as well. You could actually go there. Okoro would be firmly in play for value at 3.9K as well. So there'd be a lot to like here if Donovan Mitchell does sit in this game. Moving on to Detroit. So first game back for Isaiah Stewart, and he just played giga minutes. Not a good matchup here, but they did run a tighter rotation for the past two games. Cade back-to-back 36 plus minutes. I don't mind him if you want to go there as a contrarian play. It's just a really, really bad spot here going up against Cleveland. But if he gets his 36 minutes, sure, bit too cheap. Duran in this matchup, just going to pass, especially with Isaiah Stewart back. Stewart himself at 5-1. And I think I'd rather play Oscar Thompson, who's seen back-to-back big minutes. Stat sheet stuffer, good rebounder. I don't mind it, but no standouts here. Pretty unappealing team. Simone went back to the bench. I'm not going to play him. Quentin Grimes got a downtick a minute. So, yeah, pretty unappealing team here for Detroit. Let's move on to Dallas. So the big news here is Luka Doncic. I think it's a 50-50 if he plays or not. So with that being said, if Luka plays, it's just tough. It's tough if you have the value to fade Luka with what he's doing right now, right? Not necessarily the best spot going up against Boston, but I think, he's got to be your overall best straight up spend up on the slate, right? So Luka's a good option. Kyrie would be priced right if Luka plays. Peter Washington at this price point, no thank you. I'll let other people chase that. Tim Hardaway Jr. has a ceiling off of the bench, but don't love it. And then we do have Exum back, so it's going to hurt everyone else like Josh Green, those type guys. We do have Kleba as well, so I'm not going to. It's basically just Luka there up at the top. Now, if we get a situation where Luka Doncic is out, then Kyrie Irving shoots up to one of the best spin-ups on the slate. Then Tim Hardaway Jr. looks like a really good option in the lower lower tier mid range, kind of similar to like a Karis LeVert, but I would prefer LeVert personally. PJ Washington would get a bump, but still would be priced right at 6K, and then Josh Green would be decent value. They're going to run a three-headed monster at center. They're going to go with Kleba one game, they're going to go with Gafford the other, Lively, etc. I mean, if you want to take a dart, Lively would be my favorite at 4.3K, playable in large field tournaments just because he does have a ceiling. But yeah, would love Kyrie. PJ would be playable. Would really like Tim Hardaway Jr. And then Josh Green would be a viable value. Moving on to Boston. So good spot here. I think Tatum's a decent spin up, but when everyone's healthy, I'm not going to prioritize anyone. I think my favorite would be Tatum or Drew Holiday. This price point of Drew Holiday does seem a bit too cheap. So I think Drew Holiday definitely is a decent point per dollar play at 5.9K. Going to stuff the stat sheet, playing big minutes in a competitive game as well. So that does seem a bit too cheap. And I think Tatum will be my next favorite play at 9.8K. Sub 10K in a good spot going up against Dallas. I think that's pretty solid. Brown's priced right. Porzingis should be able to feast on this front court, so I don't mind him. But yeah, no standouts here. I think Drew, Tatum, Porzingis probably my favorites. I think they're decent options in this matchup, and the price points on Drew, especially Drew, just seem a bit too cheap there. Moving on to the Warriors, a good spot here up against Toronto. Finally saw Steph Curry have a really, really big game tonight. I want to say he had like almost a triple-double or double-double with rebounds. Crazy. But good spot here going up against Toronto. The rotation, I mean, Kersher's running so many bodies. It's just tough for me to prioritize anyone from here. If Moody continues to start, he's a playable value. Klay Thompson's overpriced. Pods is priced right with the rotation. Draymond's not seeing a ton of minutes. I guess my favorite outside of Steph Curry would be Jonathan Kuminga, just because the price point's down. We know he does have a ceiling. He's a really good point per minute guy, and you give him 30 minutes, he could smash like he did tonight at this price point. But yeah, not going to prioritize anyone here. Moody's playable. Interesting Kuminga. Steph's fine for tournaments. Don't love much else. Moving on to Toronto. So I'm pretty high on Toronto, like I am. Every single slate, I'm always higher on Toronto. Scotty Barnes, quickly, RJ Barrett. They're just running a really, really tight rotation of late. So I think all three of those guys look good. Scotty at 9.3, I think is a decent option, playing close to 40 minutes a game. He's their go-to guy. His potentials have been way up of late. His rebounding been way up of late. I think this is a matchup, especially with rebounding, where he could cook. Quickly, RJ Barrett, they're playing huge minutes. I think they're both very, very safe. RJ Barrett probably has the higher ceiling. Emmanuel Quickly probably has the higher floor between the two. Jakob Poeltl, my worry here is they're going up against a small ball Warriors team, so I think there could be a chance where they just do play Kelly Olynyk a bit more. With that being said, Kelly Olynyk could be intriguing for tournaments, so just be a little bit careful there with the bigs. Trent has a ceiling when he's hitting his shots, it's fine, and then Grady Dick has been playing extremely well of late. If you do need a 3.7K punt, it's doable. All right, this is probably my favorite game to target on the slate. DeAndre Ayton, doubtful. I would expect Duop Reith to move into the starting lineup. If that's the case, I think he's a really solid value. I would expect Jabari Walker to get a decent minutes bump. We know he's a really good point per minute guy. He'll probably get some minutes at the 5. I think he's a very solid value as well. No Ayton as well. Jeremy Grant, Simon's in a really good spot. They're going to have to lead this team offensively, have to do everything for them. This game should not blow out either. They're going to play close to 40 minutes. I like them both quite a bit. Chris Murray's playing huge minutes right now. He's playable, not the best point per minute. I'm sure, I'd rather probably just play the bigs, but Chris Murray is fine for value. Kamara, Thibault, they're going to have to play a decent amount. They're both playable values. Yeah, this Portland team definitely does look pretty good. And now we get to Memphis. Kennard doubtful. Conchar doubtful. Clark, I didn't even realize he had a questionable tag, but he's doubtful. Don't expect him to play. Jaren Jackson Jr. out. G.G. Jackson is questionable. So if G.G. Jackson plays, I love this team. Vince Williams, I absolutely really like. Santi Aldama, I absolutely love. G.G. Jackson, if he plays, I love. Jordan Goodwin, if he starts, which I would expect him to, I love. Zaire Williams, a really good value of 4.6K. Lamar Stevens is playable. If you need large field tournament plays, Laravia, probably going to have to get a bunch around that. That's fine. So, this whole team looks phenomenal. Now, if G.G. Jackson is out, Aldama's just going to have to play the entire game, most likely. So yeah, as far as it's going to be a headache with late swap because G.D. Jackson, if he plays, I want him in my lineup, right? Like you're definitely going to want multiple Memphis tomorrow. You're definitely going to need, I would say at least two, possibly even more. So that's a headache. I haven't researched anything for the Grizzlies yet as far as G.D. Jackson's questionable tag. So I will make updates tomorrow on Reddit about that. Moving on to the Pacers. Cindy Smith is questionable. No standouts here. Matherin's priced right. I believe he got benched last game too. Oh, yeah, only played 30 minutes. Miles Turner in competitive games probably only going to play around 30 minutes. Siakam at 7-8 is fine. Halliburton I think is a decent spend up, but yeah, don't love much here. Jalen Smith's getting at the backup 5 right now, but yeah, we'll just have way better value. Really good spot here, so I really like Zion. I know they just played last game. He had a really, really bad game. I like him quite a bit once again as a bounce back candidate in tournaments. Ingram is fine at 8K if you don't want to go to Zion. CD probably my least favorite. Jonas just didn't play last game. Not sure what that was about. Nance just played a bit more. The kind of, I want to say, who else did they go to? Not entirely sure. How much did Najee Marshall play? Yeah, I guess Najee Marshall's getting a bunch of run now. If you want to take a dart there, that's fine, but not a guarantee they do the same thing. I think the main standouts here are Zion and Ingram. Moving on to Sacramento. So Fox, I do expect to play. He practiced full participant last game, and he got ruled out. Now he's had a couple days to rest, so I'd expect him to play here. With that being said, I don't like much anyway going up against Minnesota. Like Sabonis, he's always in play. Fox always in play. Monk should see around 30 minutes. He's fine. Keegan Murray should see huge minutes. He's okay. Kevin Huerter, you guys know with the wings, yeah, there's just not much. If Fox is out, Davion Mitchell's a fine value. Monk would look really solid. Keegan Murray would be playable. Sabonis would be fine. So it doesn't really change too much there for me. I would expect Ant to play. He's always questionable. He always ends up playing anyway. Kyle Anderson is doubtful. So with Kyle Anderson out, you're going to see a minutes bump for guys like McDaniels and Naz Reid. So I am intrigued by Naz Reid in tournaments at 5.3K. And if Rudy Gobert or Karl-Anthony Towns does get into foul trouble, he will get a minutes bump. Mike Conley just there for me. I do like all three of the main guys here. Assuming Ant plays, I think he's a really good spend up at 9K. Cat, I think is decent. Rudy Gobert playing huge minutes right now. I think he's solid in tournaments. And then McDaniels should see a ton of run with Kyle Anderson now. I actually think he's a solid value. And then you'll see a bit more NAW as well. He's playable. All right, that's going to wrap it up for the slate. I hope you guys had a great night, and I will talk to you guys over on Reddit and see you in the next one.